Good afternoon.
And welcome to the Social Science Syndicate. Today, we'll be admirbating Chapter 1, New World Beginnings, in Kennedy, Cohen, and Bailey's The American Pageant textbook.
Allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Abe.
And I'm Frank. Together, we've gone through the APUS history curriculum just last year, and we both achieved 5s on the AP test. So we know what we're doing, and we're happy to pass our expertise off to you to make your lives that much easier. Without further ado, Abe, take it away.
Gladly. Though the Earth is millions of years old, recorded history only starts around 5,000 years ago. According to the theory of Pangaea, the massive supercontinent containing all landmass separated to form individual continents. Continental forces formed the Rocky and Appalachian mountain ranges, all supported by this massive rock under the Americas called the Canadian Shield. Further glacial melting formed key valleys, such as the Mississippi River Valley. Now, Frank, arguably the Canadian Shield, that massive rock under America, is the most important bull term in the American pageant. What could possibly be more interesting than the Canadian Shield?
Well, Abe, I think you need to calm down there a bit. I think it's arguable that the people of America are more important than the rocks underneath it. A land bridge existed at this time linking eastern Russia with western Alaska, allowing humans to travel and eventually populate all of America. However, rising temperatures caused ice to melt, which led to eventual destruction of the land bridge due to an increased level in sea level. Several important empires developed in America, including the Incas, a highly advanced agricultural settlement in Peru, and the Aztecs, a fearsome war-based empire in Mexico. Before we dismiss these Indian tribes as irrelevant to American history, we need to remember that just last year, in the 2015 AP test,
The one we took,
there was a distinct short answer question on these Native American tribes. So it's important to remember that they are just as much a part of American history as the colonial settlers. Abe, can you tell me more about the first Americans inside our country?
All right. The driving force behind the development of functioning civilizations in the Americas was the development of corn, or maize. Some Mesoamerican settlers coalesced into the so-called nation-states. These were organized societies with functioning bureaucracies. Key examples of agricultural societies included the Choco Canyon Anasazi tribe, the Iroquois, and most importantly, the Cahokia. The Cahokia tribe built huge cities and were fed from agricultural surpluses, and their civilization may have included up to 25,000 people. Also prominent in the rise of these societies was three-sister farming, which included beans, corn, and squash. These were grown together to prevent nitrogen depletion and promote more efficient farming. Overall, Native Americans felt that humans couldn't own land. Humans simply used the land, and this was very contrary to the European viewpoint. Native Americans also had a deep religious-based reverence for the natural world, unlike the Europeans. Now, Frank, could you tell me about the first Europeans who came to America?
Of course. The Norse, or Vikings, were actually the first Europeans ever to venture to America. Eric the Red and Leif Erikson landed in Newfoundland and Vinland. Unfortunately, they left no written record and were only remembered in song and legend. At the same time, Europeans' appetite for spices was growing as Muslim middlemen drove up prices on Asian luxury goods, which inspired European aristocrats to want to find better routes to Asia to get the spices at cheaper prices. Abe, nothing gives me more pleasure on a hot summer day to put on my swimsuit, hop in the pool, and play a good old game of Marco Polo with my buddies. But where does that game originate from?
Well, Marco Polo was actually a real person, and he traveled to China and thus increased European interest in Asian goods, fueling exploration. New inventions were being created at this time to make trading and exploring easier. The caravel was invented by Portugal and allowed ships to sail into the wind. The compass allowed explorers to find their directions more easily, and the astrolabe allowed explorers to determine their latitude. These inventions allowed Portuguese explorers to travel the world more easily. So far, trading empires were limited to the coast, and European powers only established coastal trading ports for gold and slaves. This led to the development of the plantation system, since slaves could be brought into European countries to grow crops more easily. Free labor. Famous explorers emerged, principally from Portugal, including Bartholomew Diaz, who rounded the tip of Africa, and Vasco da Gama, who rounded the tip of Africa, but then made it all the way to India. Now, Frank, Diaz and Gama were both from Portugal. Could you tell me about the Spanish explorers?
Well, the newly unified Spanish nation wanted a cut of the imperial riches, and Christopher Columbus was sent out to search for a possible new route to Asia. After 30 days of sailing, he sighted land. Thinking he was in India, he called the natives, wait for it, Indians. Abe, can you tell me what happened as a result of Columbus arriving in the New World?
I would love to. In the aftermath of the discovery of the New World, the Columbian Exchange developed. In essence, the Columbian Exchange is the crossover of plants, animals, and diseases between the New World, or America, and the Old World, or Europe. From the New World, or America, came beans, peppers, pumpkins, squash, corn, potatoes, tobacco, tomato, wild rice, and more. And most notably, the STD syphilis. From the Old World, or Europe, came wheat, sugarcane, cows, pigs, horses, apples, cabbage, citrus, carrots, Kentucky bluegrass, and more. Also from the Old World were diseases such as smallpox, malaria, and yellow fever. The Indians, unfortunately, had no immunity to these new diseases, and thus over 90% of the Indian population perished. Now, Frank, could you tell me about further conquests in the Americas?
Of course. In order to prevent conflict over the New World territory between Spain and Portugal, the Treaty Line of Tordesillas was agreed upon by those two nations in 1494. Spain received most of the American territory, but Portugal got Brazil and land in Africa. Spain quickly dispatched conquistadores to conquer the land for the Spanish crown. The most famous of these were Ferdinand Magellan, whose expedition was the first to circumnavigate the globe, Hernando de Soto, who explored land around the Mississippi River before being killed by Indians, and Francisco Pizarro, who conquered the mighty Inca Empire. These explorers claimed land for Spain and also sent gold back to their homeland. With the influx of precious metals to finance trade, capitalism within Europe began to develop. Unfortunately, the encomienda system was developed by the Spanish inside its New World holdings. It was just slavery with a fancy name. Indians were forced to work in exchange for being Christianized. Abe, can you tell me about the most infamous conquistador of them all?
I would love to. In 1519, Hernando Cortés arrived in present-day Mexico. The Aztec king Montezuma believed Cortés to be the god Quetzalcoatl, and therefore welcomed Cortés into the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. Greedy for Aztec gold, Cortez's troops attacked the Aztecs on Noche Triste, or Spanish for sad night. Despite the Spaniards' guns and steel, their best weapon was smallpox, which wiped out the Aztecs. The Spaniards then married natives, leading to the rise of a mixed European-Indian culture known as the mestizos. Now, Frank, could you tell me about the culmination of Spanish America?
Absolutely. Spain sought to spread its society throughout the New World, and to this end, they established forts and missions across their territorial holdings. Indeed, threats were coming from other world powers too, who, keen to gain empires for themselves, had dispatched their own explorers. The English had sent John Cabot, who reached Newfoundland. The French sent Giovanni de Verranzo and Jacques Cartier, who reached present-day New England and Canada, respectively. And Spain had other problems as well. Their mission system was despised by the natives, and the Spanish authorities were in constant combat with these Native Americans. In the Battle of Acoma, the Spanish severed the foot of each Pueblo survivor, and the Pueblo then struck back in Pope's rebellion, in which they destroyed the Spanish buildings in Santa Fe and killed hundreds of Spanish settlers. Despite these horrific acts of violence, the black legend that Spain brought only death and slaughter to the New World is not entirely correct. Though the Spanish did bring slavery and diseases, They also brought their legal systems, architecture, advanced technology, and language.
Make sure to check out our website for practice AP questions.
And don't forget about the Quizlet sets down here, so you can master the bold terms and important people.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
And comment down below throughout the year if you have any questions at all.
We will literally do your homework questions for you if you need help.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a life. Do you?
Not really.
Catch you guys next time.